podcast is powered by Audio House Dublin.
Episode 22 of the Sold Out podcast, joined by Nialler9. First of all, it's an absolute pleasure for you to come on.
Thanks for having me.
When I sent the email, did not expect a response. But no, it's a real pleasure, man. Obviously, if you don't know who he is, you're living under some sort of rock. The most read Irish music blog.
That's correct, yeah.
Since 2005. Obviously, he has his own podcast, the Nialler9 podcast. It's available on everything.
Yeah,
iTunes,
got two
Spotify.
podcasts actually.
Yeah.
Nialler9, and then we do one called Loose Joints, which is it's kind of like a Desert Island Disc kind of thing.
Yeah.
We get people in to talk about the music that they like,
Yeah.
and ask them random questions,
Yeah.
including their guilty pleasure. What's your guilty pleasure? So there's two kind of at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, would you have gotten your start in DJing as well? That's kind of like your other title.
No, my start was I did computing in Dunleary
Okay.
as a college course.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of grounding in that kind of stuff in terms of online, and I mean, it was 2005, so there was no YouTube.
Yeah,
yet.
that's what we were talking just before we started.
There was no Twitter. Facebook didn't really exist in the same way at all. I mean, it was there, but it was closed, I think, even
Yeah, it was
then.
the college thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Kind of.
so that wasn't really there. And everyone was uploading MP3s to illegal
Yeah,
servers
to Napster.
and flying under the radar. And
Yeah.
like I was hosting tracks on my .com website
Yeah.
for like a long time.
And so, were you kind of into building websites early on? Was it?
Yeah, that's when my start was. Yeah, that's why I was like, I think that kind of helped me stand out a little bit.
Yeah.
'Cause I mean that I had the Nialler9 name, and then had a little bit of a brand and a bit of a style.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I was able to build my own themes, all the
Yeah,
nerdy stuff
Yeah.
that actually is really useful
Yeah.
once you get out of college.
because even your own .com is kind of important to have. You know, it's
Oh, yeah.
you kind of control the whole experience then. On
Well, that's
that,
the thing. Like everything has changed so much. You know, like we're talking about Facebook reach
Yeah.
at the moment in terms of how
Yeah.
bad it is.
Yeah.
And so you have to have your own thing that you can control, even if
Yeah.
it's harder to drive people towards that.
Yeah.
Because there's so much more distractions than there ever was. So
Yeah,
in terms of noise, you
Yeah.
know, and that's kind of like the whole point of Nialler9 is to talk about and recommend new music to filter out that noise for a
Yeah,
lot of
exactly.
people. So it's still, you kind of are in a way amongst the noise yourself.
yeah.
So yeah. It's
And there's always new ones popping up all the time as well. Like.
yeah, I think there's probably less like the Irish music websites. There's not as many as there maybe was at one
I just
point.
even mean like social media, like
Oh,
trying
yeah,
to get
like-
you to hop on new stuff all the time. Like,
Yeah, well that's it. You just have to keep up on it. Like
Yeah.
Instagram is super important.
Yeah,
Now, you know. Like,
yeah. But then when even they introduce something like IGTV or something, you're kind of going, all right, now I have to think about that. Like, what does that mean? You know?
Yeah, I think it's your process changes for everything you do. It used to be just like you'd put it up on a website, you'd tweet a link or
Yeah, that
share a
was
link
it,
on
like.
Facebook, but now you kind of have to have different size contents.
Yeah.
But I have a background
Yeah.
in that as well in terms
Yeah.
of like like imaging and Photoshop and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm well versed in that.
Yeah, and everything
So,
like. So when you were starting up it was just the blog first of all, was it?
yeah. I started just sharing new music with mates and people I didn't know, which kind of took off pretty quickly because I don't think anyone really doing it from Ireland at the time.
Even
So-
still, it's still kind of a small community, really.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, music. The value of music has changed so much in terms of culture anyway, and there's so many more. Like we were talking about, you mentioned gaming and stuff. You know, there's so many more time. You know, there's time-consuming things that take
Yeah.
up everybody else's time, and you know, music is just one part of it. And in many ways, music has become background noise for a
Yeah.
lot of people. And
Yeah.
you know, you got like one of those Google Home devices or Alexa.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like you know, if you're not into music, you can just tell it to play some French music or
Yeah.
play some hip hop, whatever, and it'll just do it. And if you're not like, that's not really what Nialler9 is for,
Yeah.
obviously, but it's for people who are really interested
Yeah.
in new music. And you know, I think that's always there, and and the kind of music that people listen to and the kind of things that people are interested in has changed. The kind of music I'm interested in has changed a lot. So I guess probably when I started, it was a lot more like indie and rock
Yeah.
stuff, and then kind of your palette expands, you
Yeah.
get into more stuff, and then locally things
Yeah.
like when I started, it was all singer-songwriters, really a lot of Whelan's buzz.
Yeah.
There wasn't any dance music.
Yeah.
And now that's kind of flipped on its head completely. You know, so it's kind of finding all the bits and the music. So I kind of look at it in a way of like, you want the authentic, original cutting edge voices in there, and that's what I look for. And
kind of
stuff that
at home
excites
and
me.
abroad as well.
Yeah, it's never about just Irish music, because I didn't want to just put it on a box. Put a box on it. It has to be music that.
Eventually you're gonna kind of start getting to the bottom of the barrel, like, you know.
So like we featured, even today we featured some Norwegian kind of electro pop stuff that we really liked, from a weird band who I've been following for the last 7 years. Now I'm out. So that kind of stuff, you know, like if you put parameters on yourself, you're only limiting yourself. So, and you know, now that music is so global, there's no reason to just be an Irish music website in my head. I never wanted to be that anyway. And it also means that the Irish music has to stand up with
international
the rest
music
of the
as
stuff.
well.
So it's important for me. But then again, like we do some stuff on the website that's Irish based, because it's kind of like giving their Irish acts their first bite at an audience, maybe when we think it's good enough. You know? So
saw that recently. Well, obviously Waste Fellow's been kind of doing waves for a while, but just your write up there in the Irish Times there recently.
I mean, that's a different audience again from Nialler9. You know,
exactly,
like it's an older thing. It's physical.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like every time you write about a band in the Irish Times, or an artist in the Irish Times, like, you know, their ma sees it, or their granny sees it, stuff like that. It's just kind of like, it's an extra bit of validation that like you wouldn't get from a website. So that's can like help keep them the annoying questions off their back for another at least few weeks, maybe a few months. You exactly.
That's what's kind of funny is like, because people growing up then since probably would look at like a website like that, but it's still the older generation kind of have that legacy thing with like a newspaper or something. Like it's
well, all the stuff is online as well, so you can share it, but that's good. But like it is that kind of, oh, my son is in the newspaper. Like it has more validation for a certain demographic than it would for a website.
And how long have you been writing in the Irish Times actually?
Been writing for them for the last 4 or 5 years, maybe 4 years, I think. 4 years.
Flies in
all music stuff. I did a series called How Music Works which stopped in January, but I did it for like 3 years, and that was talking to people behind the scenes in music, whether it be a booking agent or tour manager. So I talked to, rest his soul, but Avicii's tour manager at the time, people like Mark Carolan who do sound for Muse and all that kind of stuff. Just there's so many Irish people in the music industry who are doing huge things, and most people don't know about them, I always
really
found that interesting. You know, there's people in the background who are
that you don't know, like, and they're kind of
interesting things.
Exactly, and even you're kind of getting into that a little bit yourself, aren't you? You're getting into the behind the scenes sort of things. Where
I guess so. Managing a band called The Boom for the last year and a half, and that's been going really well.
That you would have just seen them at Lecture Picnic, wasn't
it? Where did I see them first? I saw them at a small, maybe Hard Working Class Heroes actually 2 years ago. Maybe it was that. So I kept an eye on them, and we chatted a lot, and then they asked me to manage them. I said no, because I didn't have enough time. I didn't think, but I kept in touch, and I just felt like it was the right thing to do, and luckily everything's been going really well. Solo gigs in Dublin in District 8 in a couple of weeks, and then we got Cypress Avenue in Cork sold out as well. There's gigs in Spain coming up. Lots more big plans for next year, which we were just meeting about.
You were saying.
So it's an interesting thing as well. Like I know how to do Nialler9, the music website,
but this is kind of a new thing.
So you kind of have these little bows off your main thing that kind of makes sense and give you something extra to be excited about.
Something new, exactly.
I guess it's a logical thing, really, because you're writing about music because you want people to hear it. So managing a band in a way is along the same lines. It's parallel to that. It's like you're helping them in their career. So it's kind of like your ultimate endorsement.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was getting at. Like it's almost like the extra cosign of like,
exactly.
This is my name's on this now. Like.
So that's I always avoided that because you just never know.
And then you're gonna have 1,000,001 requests probably since of like, oh, you're
I've been asked a few times, but I'm pretty happy with just the one at the moment, and we'll see how that
keep
goes.
Keep it focused,
and then, you never know where the future holds.
Exactly,
holds, so we'll see.
And then similarly, like say with Nialler9, the website, like obviously in the beginning it was probably just yourself, and now it's kind of grown into a much bigger thing. So what was the process like of that? Even like
Yeah, it's been myself for a long time, and I guess like because I've been doing it now since 2005, so it'll be 13
Yeah.
years end of this month
Yeah.
actually. Officially full 13
Yeah.
years. Yeah, so it's a long time. So I think there's a lot of there's a news cycle in music in a day-to-day sense, and it's hard to be tied to that in every way. If you're somebody that is writing about new music all the time, you feel like you can't, like I'm technically at that point I'm technically self-employed, and I still am my own boss, so
Yeah.
it's hard. I had an office out of my house for a long time. I don't have an office out of my house anymore. I'm in South William Street, but the good, it kind of, you are tied to this daily thing that happens, and you kind of have to react to everything.
Yeah.
Because whether you agree with it or not, you have to be among the first to share things and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of pressure. In terms of you can't just go, I'm going to think of the morning off and not write about music today.
No.
You can't really do that because consistency is what's key when you're doing something like that, and in terms of your reputation. So I've taken people on board in the last year, and that's been really useful. So it's allowed me to do a lot more.
Yeah, freed up some of your time, like.
Yeah, and not just like the management and stuff, but also doing a lot more gigs as the Nialler9 name.
Yeah.
Do a lot more music supervision, picking music for TV and ads and film and stuff like that. Do a lot more DJing in general, and just run.
It's
the club
every
night.
month in Lumo, isn't it?
Yeah, Lumo's a club night once a month in Tengu. So we started. That's 3 years.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks. That's our third year.
And that's on Ormond Quay for.
Yeah, so Yamamori Tengu, which is Yamamori is the Japanese restaurant on the quays opposite when you come off the Halfpenny Bridge and the entrance around the back. It's a great space. It's a Japanese restaurant that turns into a nightclub.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Really good sound system, 2 rooms. We get a really nice crowd, so it's been really cool because it's kind of what we wanted. It's like we wanted to do something that wasn't. There's a lot of house and techno nights, and that's
kind
cool.
of something slightly.
That's
different.
cool. No, but we wanted to be able to play like Phil Collins in the air tonight and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And not feel like it's weird.
Yeah.
It's a party. That's like it's like. Yeah, when we started, we described it as the house party club.
Yeah,
that was kind of the way to do it.
And that's the best vibe, like, is
like you don't like we try not to be too serious about it. Like, oh, we can't play that.
Yeah,
it has to be something, whatever you want to play. It's fine, So it's been going really well. So that's celebrating his 3rd birthday on the 27th of October. And thank you, Niall Byrne's coming down and doing her set upstairs all night, so that'll be good. There's 3 of us then, myself, Simon and Gavin, who are the Lumo DJs, and we do downstairs all the time. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then even I would have seen recently you were kind of involved in that Serious Vibes.
Yeah, helped out with the lads on that. Yeah,
because they were in here promoting that at the time.
Yeah, it's just a good cause. And Calvin is a legend who has put himself in harm's way above and beyond what most people do when they actually want to help a cause. They go to this war-torn area.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know now, but so any help on that is, I was happy to help out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like which we try and do every now and again. You know, like there's more opportunities with more time. So it helps.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I suppose like being so busy, like is your time now kind of obviously with people helping you, is it spent mostly on the writing, or is it spent just kind of on everything, or
bits and pieces? I'm doing more gigs in general. With that, what that means is we have a couple of things coming up in the Douglas Hyde Gallery in Trinity. Doing some Nialler9 Christmas parties in Cork and Dublin.
Sounds good.
So do a thing called Future Proof with Homebeat, and they are happening in Bellow Bar. They're kind of like new music showcase nights. And just a lot more DJing and stuff. But I guess the other part of it is like, working on a new website kind of thing.
Exciting,
but I've been working on it for a year.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
it always takes time with something like that when you're so busy with everything else.
Yeah, well, it's just finding the time to do it. So I'm in a place now where the corner's turned a bit, and I know I can find some time to do it in the next while. Ideally, it'll be up before the end of the year, but who knows?
Exciting. And
then the podcast as well. So look, you're kept busy.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
100%.
Always kept busy.
Yeah. So no, it's something even like because I'm in college and then doing this afterwards and kind of trying to run the website and the social media as well, and it's like there's never dull moment of like, there's always something you could be posting, or there's something you could be designing, or
Yeah, but I mean, if you have people work with you, it just means that you can, not
At
feel
least-
weird about
yeah.
going to the gym or
Yeah.
whatever.
Exactly. That's one of the questions.
Somebody else is looking after it.
Yeah, I was
you
going to
know?
ask, obviously, because so many people know you from music, and most of these conversations can be driven by music, but is there anything that Nialler9 does in his spare time that just no one knows about? Not anything weird in particular, but, just, something kind of...
No, not really. Like,
Is it all, you just
I
kind of...
mean, I'm pretty obsessed with music,
Yeah.
so it's still like
Still the
every
number
part
one.
of me is, whether it's DJing or going to gigs, it's still a lot of that.
It's still a lot of that.
Yeah.
And then
for
obviously
sure.
like the work is like, when you enjoy it as well, it's... Well, like,
Yeah,
not
no, it's
enjoying
great.
it,
It's
but-
great. Like you can feel like you're helping
Exactly, yeah.
artists, and it's exciting still
Yeah.
when you hear a new tune.
Even if it's a
You're
meeting or
into-
something, like you were saying earlier, like just kind of going out and
Yeah.
putting a face to a name, or...
Yeah, like you get to know from doing it over the years. You get to know so many people,
Yeah.
and the people in the industry and
Yeah.
beyond. Like even like saying about film and stuff like that, getting to know people in the film industry and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's just kind of naturally soaking up different
Yeah,
networks.
exactly,
and
yeah.
Get to know different people, and yeah, there's always somebody else to have a chat to.
Yeah, it's always exciting. Even since we started our thing, like I suppose you know this a long time now, but like once you start networking and you realize how much people there are in Ireland that you just never would have heard about before.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
it's insane. Like,
yeah,
and that's why I like your lists and stuff that you do, and they cover all different genres as well.
yeah.
Like every week, and there's so much there that you wouldn't know about otherwise.
Yeah, this week is a particularly busy gig,
Mm.
gig guide. There's a lot on, and there's a lot of sold out gigs as well.
Mm.
Like live music is doing pretty well, and has been for a number of years. And there's a lot happening, and it hasn't. The only thing is we don't have many venues, and there's some smaller places have closed down.
Yeah.
Some bigger places are about to close down.
Yeah.
So like the likes of District 8, Hangar's gone.
Yeah, Hangar, yeah.
So those kind of spaces are gone, and in terms of like a band's trajectory, you can go depending on who you're working with.
Yeah.
Like you can go from Whelan's to
Yeah.
Workman's to Button Factory
Yeah.
to an Academy
Yeah.
or Olympia or Vicar Street, but anything after that is tough.
It's because then it's the 3 Arena, so it's a bit of a gap. Like,
it's a big jump.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to find a place to do anything in between. But if the band is that's their problem, then they're probably doing
they're
okay.
doing all right. Yeah, exactly.
But it still means that there's a lack of those kind of mid-sized venues, and when District 8 closes, like a lot of the visiting DJs and artists who are coming over, I don't know where they're gonna go.
Yeah.
At the moment, I mean, maybe something will crop up, but we used to have an abundance of those places. No longer. Even smaller places, it's hard to find a place to start out, and that's one of the reasons why we started the Future Proof showcase series, because it's kind of like it's new music, new talent, and we wanted it to be accessed by an audience who were as into the music as we are, and it's been working really well.
Yeah.
Like, it's Bellebar is small, it's 120 people, but it's like
But it's almost a good buzz when it's a nice small.
yeah, like it's like that word intimate is used by
Yeah.
promoters a lot. Oh, it's an
Yeah.
intimate, it's
Yeah.
intimate gig, but
Yeah.
this is a genuinely intimate space. As in, it's quiet. It can be quiet, but it can get rowdy depending on the act. But
Yeah.
it's like a really nice space to
Yeah.
see new music.
That was one of the things I was kind of commenting about, like Longitude this year, when Post Malone was one of the headliners on the Friday, and it was like still daytime, and obviously the crowds are massive, that it loses a lot of the atmosphere. It's totally gone when you're
Yeah.
so far back, and it's still bright out, and there's people just on their phone right next to you. You're just taken out of music completely. It's nice when it's
Yeah,
a nice enclosed space.
it's hard to grow from 120 people to whatever
Yeah,
40,000
Yeah.
people and still be able
Yeah.
to engage with your audience. That's when you need lights and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff to make it happen.
yeah. Because you were talking about recently on your podcast the Electric Picnic becoming like the new big thing.
Again, I mean, like Electric Picnic has been so big for so many years now that it's hard to see where it can grow.
Yeah. It definitely has some growing pains at the moment, even with all the waste that was left for the last
That's
number of years.
one issue. But I think the main thing is the picnic started as a real like music
Yeah.
fans festival.
Yeah,
But all these other festivals that are around now weren't there. Like Altogether Now wasn't there. Forbidden Fruit wasn't there.
Yeah.
Metropolis wasn't there. even around the country. Independence maybe was the only one that might have been around there, but maybe not. C Sessions, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
Body and Soul wasn't around.
Yeah.
And now the festival market has matured in a way
Yeah.
that everybody's catered for.
Yeah.
Including the casual music fan. What's happened with the Electric Picnic? It can still be a great place to see acts, but there's a lot of people there who are just there for the experience and not for the music.
Yeah.
And that changes the vibe a bit.
Yeah.
You know, it still means there's space for a Berlin techno bunker to happen and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, it's hard to, you've got the likes like this year was Dua Lipa, Kendrick, and like huge names that drew a lot of people. But it's a lot. I think there's a lot of people go to a picnic now who are kind of like it's their one festival of the year.
Yeah, and they just.
But that's cool because there's loads of other ones now that you can go to that are smaller, more discerning, and have those acts. That the kind of acts that we feature. So that makes sense.
Yeah, because even I think a lot of people view it almost like a big party now as well. Yeah, like with the whole camping aspect and everything as well. It's like whether you don't see any acts at all, you can still have a great time.
I felt it was very crowded this year now, I have to say.
Yeah.
I felt like it was just a lot of people. And it didn't feel as comfortable as ever the once did. It just felt like it was slammed for people. So a bit more space would be nice somehow.
Yes, find it somewhere.
Yeah.
I suppose as well, I was always wondering, reviewing music, and you have to listen to so many like different artists and different albums and stuff. Like, do you have to schedule time to just listen, or what's the process? And actually,
every day is a listening day. Every time you're going anywhere, headphones are on pretty much. Like this week is a really good example. Like there's 15 albums that we counted that we are interested in this week that came out on Friday. 14 and one from last week, because there was only one album that came out last week that we were really interested in, and that can happen. That's very unusual though. 15 is a lot. But it's hard to process all those. So kind of what you have to do, like I find the process of writing about music helps you process it and then come back to it, because then it's kind of in your brain. You put it on a playlist, you come back to it, and you're like, oh yeah, I really like that. I mean, that's the thing, we're a filter for other people who don't have time a lot of times to discover new music, but you almost need a filter for us now, because there's so much music.
Exactly, I was kind of getting that, like, even, is there ever a time you can actually listen to the music you want? Because there's probably so much. Yeah,
it's called Sunday. That's usually it. Usually Sunday is a day, or Saturday maybe we might just put on whatever you want. And it's not like, I have to listen to new music now. But Fridays can be good. Fridays are generally a quieter day for me, so it's kind of a but that's a good thing about DJing as well, like it gives you that reason to go and listen to stuff that's not necessarily new, and gives you another reason to do it and listen to whatever you want. That's why I found myself listening to podcasts a lot more in general, just because you need a break from the music sometimes. You do, like, and I'm really good at processing it and listening to it all, and I've had loads of practice, but at the same time, you need to turn off. You need to just listen to someone else or nothing. Hopefully someday.
And did you like starting out with writing about music? Like, were you ever good? Like, were you good at English in school, or did you do any?
I was alright, but I think the main thing is that I just
wrote
a lot and every day, and like I was doing a web design job, and my background allowed, like the kind of work that I was doing allowed me to just listen to music all the time. But it also meant I was skiving off to do design stuff when I shouldn't have been. Would have been harder now because it was like 1 or 2 posts a day kind of thing, where you can't really. It's hard to maintain more than
exactly.
When it's a lot of volume at the moment.
Because now it's like hour by hour. You need engagement on this post and that post, like headlines coming in.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's if you're making a going concern. But the sheer volume is just what gets you now. It's like, we used to do album reviews, straight up album reviews. Or I used to write album reviews straight up. But now we kind of do... You're kind of pointing towards albums first. And then if feel like... popular... Well, if you feel like there's a reason for you to come back and write a long form piece about it, then you will do that. But it's hard. You can't process like
a whole album.
I was like Kendrick Lamar is a good example, because like his last 2 albums have been quite detailed and lots going on. You can't really like process it all in a matter of a day.
Exactly.
A review that people want to read.
That's one of the things on YouTube I'm always very skeptical of, is when an album drops, like say Kanye album, Kendrick album, something especially that kind of has a bit of hype behind it, and there's a review up that day or the next day or something. You're kind of like, I suppose you could have listened to it and just on repeat or something, but you're kind of losing living with that album for a little bit, you know.
There was a period where like people were, you know, used to say to me, "Oh, that's old music." I was like, "It came out 2 weeks ago."
Yeah, it's mental.
But like, because it was the new thing, was the first. But I think everyone kind of understands intrinsically now that if you missed something 3 or 4 weeks ago, it's not old, it's not dead.
Yeah.
Because, you know, how the fuck could you actually listen to all of that?
Yeah, it's crazy.
At the same time and process it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
You can't.
And you're just letting it die then, like the next week, like it's.
Yeah,
it's
and I think
weird,
that's
like,
gone a little bit. You know, I think. You know, I used to worry about that a little bit, like the music that you'd feature be gone or disappeared in a few months. But there does seem to be some longevity there, and a lot of it has to do with, like, you know, the live scene is really healthy, so you can go on tour and do things and make your money that way. You're not going to make money off records as a band. So, you know, when we're working with LaBoom, what we're doing at the moment is just singles, really, because an album is a big commitment, and maybe we'll get there when we're ready for it. But at the moment, that's a lot of time to put into something
100%,
that people may or may not hear. You know, like you're better off building up your fan base, getting people at your shows, doing a really good live gig,
maybe even some videos or
making cool videos. Yeah, there's lots of stuff like that in the works. So that all makes sense. It's all part of the story, you know, and all part of the band now. You know? You see a band before you hear them now.
Yeah, 100%.
So, like, that's the reason why there's so much thought gone into, like, how a band looks, or what their press photos like, or what their brand is, whatever you want to call it. But, like, you know, you will see a band before you hear them now. So you kind of have to have that consideration as well. It's another whole thing.
And, like, does that ever kind of play a fact on you reviewing an album? Is like someone's persona or something? Say if like a Kanye West record is going to come your way sometime in November. Yeah. Does it ever affect you, some of the stuff that's in the headlines about how you're going to perceive that then?
Yeah, I mean, how could it not? Like, especially with him.
Yeah.
It's becoming increasingly hard to, you know, distance the art from the artist.
Exactly.
In that case, especially when he's like doing stuff like Meet Trump.
Even because you were talking recently about Taylor's thing, and that's almost on the flip where it worked out positively for her rather than you know,
but there's no album to promote for her. True. You know, she's talking about trying to get people to vote. Really, that's what's happened anyway as a result of her talking about it, which is like, you know, that's the power that she has as an artist. But like with the Kanye thing, it's like, I don't know what he's saying, and nobody really, it's hard to. I'm not a massive Kanye fan, like I don't want to defend him to the death. Yeah. But those people are finding it increasingly hard to
100%
back him up with the mad stuff that he is saying. And I'm like, I think it's a mental health issue, really. Like, I mean, he's not well. Yeah, it can't be that. It can't be well. Like, he's just not making sense.
Yeah, and I've been skeptical about whether he's almost going through some sort of like psychedelic or stoner phase almost. The way he's tweeting, he's always like, we got love, or, you know, everything he's doing is real almost about everyone being equal. Well, that's what he's saying, and then he's kind of acting in a different way, but, you know, he's acting very, and even the new album named Yandi, where it's like Gandhi, and he seems to be doing this kind of pseudo spiritual thing,
like,
you know?
as a musician and a producer, he's still fucking brilliant. And that's the thing, he's still like up there, and he's still able to make amazing beats, even if he's executive producing
how many albums,
10 different people though. You know, like, we don't know if he's making all those beats, but like, I think based on that run of 5 albums this summer, you can presume that he has a lot of hand in that, and it sounds like him. And
at the very least, as an art director, he's
but he's well able to do that, and I have no problem with that. The executive producing thing, where he might have like other producers in under him. I think it makes for interesting art, and it's really interesting to listen to as well. You know, but I don't know where he's going.
It's a strange one.
I mean, it's October now. Who knows what he'll be like in December?
Like,
we know
it's been like that.
The
for
album's
a while,
going to drop. Who knows what's going to be on it? You know.
Yeah, because even like when he said that when he had his own album and the Kid Cudi album after such a long break from the albums before, you know, it's weird. It's kind of weird how his cycle goes, because obviously he was so involved with the fashion stuff for a while and stuff. But I suppose as well, like obviously you have a good knowledge of almost every music genre. But what's kind of like your favorite, or does that change?
Well, it could always change, and there are things that you like feel more. It's hard to, I think, generally speaking, like if I say melodic electronic music is probably my number one thing.
Yeah.
Whatever that includes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know what that is, but
Yeah.
like it encapsulates loads of different
Yeah,
things.
true. Like that could kind of be a
So-
hip hop beat at the same time, or it could be.
but I kind of like, I think generally speaking, you know, how I look at it is if somebody's doing something unique or different with their own perspective, with some originality and authenticity, then that's something I would value. And doesn't fall back on cliches and
Yeah.
like, you know, there's certain, and especially in the pop world, when, you know, you get loads of people writing different songs for somebody else, and then
Yeah.
there's trends, and like the Dolphin Noise from a few years ago, you know, all that kind of stuff where you're like, there's a definite trends in music,
Yeah.
and people start to follow them, and then like George Ezra is a good example, right? He was of like a folky singer songwriter who was grand,
Yeah.
and then, you know, got into the major label system, did some co-writes, and his music starts to sound like everybody else's.
Yeah.
And that fits on the radio, and that's brilliant and
Yeah.
all, but like, God, it's boring.
And it's the story of a lot of other artists as well. Like.
Yeah, and that happens a lot. I think the hard thing is for an artist to maintain that integrity that they have in their own sound if they go into that larger pop system.
Yeah.
Like, there's very few people who can do that.
Yeah.
Because there's so many cooks.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about Kanye, like, as another example, like, even if he does have other producers on board, he'll always sound like a Kanye album,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
or what he wants it to sound like, and that's his vision that has been pushed through that whole thing. So, you know,
There's an interesting thing I read about. I'm not sure if you're aware, the one of the songs on the new album, "Violent Crimes." Not sure if you remember it that
Yeah.
well. One where he talks about like his daughter a lot, and some of the stuff he's going through with, like, obviously his mental health and everything that's going on in his life. It turns out the song was ghostwritten.
Right,
He only
okay.
changed 2 lines, and he's mentioning Nori by name, you know, other people by name, and it's fascinating to think that someone else could have kind of empathized with Kanye and go, what would I be feeling if I was Kanye, you know?
right, I hadn't heard that now.
Yeah,
actually. That's
it's really
interesting.
fascinating.
Yeah.
If you look up the lyrics for Violent Crimes, and you're kind of going, if someone else ghostwrote that, that's kind of scary, even from an artist's point of view, you know, where it's like they could make a song that personal and it still be someone else's like idea, you know.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, but that's why I think he definitely has lost some of the personal touch on his work, but obviously, like, it's still in his, you know, it's still his vision though, you know, which is probably the main thing.
Well, that's it. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, like I said, I don't know where it's gonna go.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
literally
it's fascinating. Like,
literally have no idea.
he's gonna be one of those people that just either like fizzle. Like, I don't know if he's ever gonna fizzle out though. You know, it's if people just keep, no matter what he does. You know, all the stuff he said this year, we're still listening. You know.
Yeah,
It
I don't know
seems that
if it keeps going for another year. That though.
Yeah, like I
Oh,
can't
no.
imagine a world where everyone just turns away though. You know, it's fascinating.
No.
Like,
But maybe, you know, maybe he starts making terrible music.
yeah, that's the one thing you can't get away with is once
Yeah.
the music is bad.
Yeah. But that's the thing, like, you know, he has the vision, and like we said, and that's, you can feel that, and that's what is attracting people to want to listen to it. Even Ye, which is a very flawed album overall, but like,
Yeah.
fascinating to listen to.
Yeah.
You know,
My biggest pet peeve, I've said it a million times on this podcast, that opening 2 minutes of him just
Yeah.
talking. It's like 10% of the album's length because the thing is only like 20 something minutes. Like,
yeah.
and how have you? I don't know. I'm not sure how much you've been into hip hop, but even artists like XXX or people with, like, seems like a lot of these new guys are all kind of coming with like very flawed personalities and flawed backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah, I guess that'd be more mainstream stuff than I'd be into, generally speaking.
Yeah.
You know, like, I grew up on the Wu-Tang and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and Tribe Called Quest. So
Yeah.
stuff like that is
Yeah.
my jam, really. But like, my favorite rap stuff in the last few years has probably been like Kendrick, some of Vince
Yeah.
Staples stuff. Like, Vince Staples is a good example
Yeah.
of somebody who does something totally outside the norm
Yeah.
of the genre, and bringing in
Yeah, Big Fish
like
Theory was,
Sophie
yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, just like really interesting,
Yeah.
big, huge beats, and like just completely different stuff. And then the likes of Run the Jewels, like LP's been a hero for a long, long time.
Yeah.
One of my favorite bands of all time are like not totally hip hop, but they are in a way, like Beastie Boys. So like they're my number one
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just figured I'd ask because like we're kind of a bit hip hop centric on this show, so just even to get
well, like there's lots of really great stuff happening here in
Yeah,
hip hop. Like
100%.
Kojak's doing
Yeah.
amazing stuff.
Yeah, Daddy Daydreams is massive.
Yeah,
like,
like that's one of the best Irish releases of the year by far.
yeah,
Easily. And there's lots of cool stuff happening, you know, and there's
Yeah.
lots of stuff bubbling underground that even I haven't written about yet,
Yeah.
but I'm keeping an eye on
Keeping
all
an eye
that
on
kind of
them,
stuff.
like-
So yeah.
yeah.
It's
No, it is
all-
really promising. Like you might recognize some of the names that we've had on before, or whatever. And they might be the guys you're looking at, but yeah, it is. It seems like there's definitely a bit of a renaissance going on at the
Yeah.
moment.
There's a lot happening,
Yeah,
which is very positive.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. There was something I was going to say though to do with that. I was going to ask in terms of like even hip hop releases this year, kind of what cropped your eye maybe the most.
Well, you put me on the spot now.
Because I'm thinking, would you have listened to that new Logic album at all? Because
No,
I think he might be something you might listen to.
I've heard him.
Depending,
Yeah.
yeah. Just
Yeah.
kind of going by if you like the sort of boom bap, the sort of
Well, my favorite, like the best albums I've listened to recently, the No Name album I loved. I love the Black Panther soundtrack from earlier in the year.
yeah,
Um,
that was actually very well done. Like
it was
for something that could have been total,
could have been,
you know,
yeah, total shite.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah,
And
it actually
then God, what else have I been listening to hip hop wise? I have a hip hop playlist on Spotify.
yeah,
that
yeah.
I keep for myself.
People go listen.
Yeah,
Pardon?
Tyler albums last year. I
Yeah.
listened to that a lot.
Yeah.
God, I'd have to.
He was an interesting performance actually at Longitude. He kind of came out with not much of a stage, like in terms of what's on the stage. Like he was very like there wasn't much on the monitors behind him. He just totally came out and ran around the stage for the hour or so. Like
Yeah, I saw him at Primavera instead, so
Yeah.
I didn't get to see him at Longitude. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I was kind of hoping I'd love to see him with his band.
Yeah.
Like, the Tiny Desk concert that they did was really good.
because he's so into the music, it's kind
Yeah.
of surprising he doesn't have.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's kind of one of those you have to go to the US probably to see him in some small club somewhere. If he does those kind of gigs, I'm not sure if he does really.
Yeah,
Yeah, very different. It was very much a festival show, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I assume, like even like I mentioned earlier, Post Malone hasn't really seemed to stop touring since he's become a big
Yeah.
artist. Like, and you kind of wonder they're probably just kind of collecting the money and eventually kind of going home at some point. You know.
Yeah, maybe.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose it's
Making
anything-
hay.
Yeah, well, like while the iron's hot, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, he's supposed to. He only came here for Longitude, and he's coming back for the Tree Arena on Valentine's Day. So it's a bit like, and he's
But you know, he's selling tickets, so
yeah,
that's
like
the thing.
he must just be run down. Like, you know, at a certain point, you're just like never took a break. Like
Yeah, true.
it's
true.
insane. But I suppose is there anything else that you want to kind of promote or kind of shout out or?
No, not
Obviously, we
really.
we
Like
said everything at the start. The podcast
I
every
mean,
week.
you know, we're doing a podcast every week.
every Thursday, is it?
Usually every Thursday. Yeah. Every Wednesday night recording, every Thursday.
Hopefully.
Loose Joints is kind of every 2 weeks. We do kind of seasons of it.
Yeah.
So we had like Marcus O'Leary on. We actually
Yeah.
we've had so many random people on that
Yeah.
as well, like the ones that we didn't even get to record, that we did live and stuff like that in
Yeah.
Cork. That we're anyway.
How was that actually? Just like recording it live in front of an audience.
Yeah, it was great, but we didn't record it properly. So
It kind of
and we had Enda Walsh on,
Yeah.
and the playwright, and he was great, but recording was pants.
yeah. Was it just the audience
So-
just overpowering it? Was it? Or?
Oh no, we gave it to somebody else to record and
fair.
shouldn't have, and they didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, very disappointing.
Yeah.
But anyway, no,
I'd say
it's
it'd be a
good
lot of
crack.
pressure though if 50 people and you're kind of like if you're realizing what isn't like your conversation isn't being that interesting, they're kind of they're right there like
Yeah, but that one was a funny one because
Yeah.
it was at that Sounds from a Safe Harbour festival last
Yeah.
year in Cork, and I booked the music trail as part of it, and we had Enda Walsh in to do it, and he was there, and like he just worked with Bowie and all this kind of stuff.
yeah.
We decided not to talk about the Bowie stuff because
Yeah.
I'm sure he was like just overdone.
Yeah.
So we just talked to him about music, and it was a really good chat. But the two of us, myself and Sally, were hugely hungover when we did it. It was a challenge to be up.
Well,
on
you're in
the
Galway,
stage.
so
In Cork, yeah,
Or Cork,
yeah.
sorry.
But we were at the it was the Bon Iver and the National doing this festival, and it was a late night and
Yeah.
just a lot going on.
Yeah.
It was fun, but we're gonna do more of that. I think more live stuff for sure. The next
Yeah.
while, and look, putting on loads of gigs as well. That's the main thing,
Yeah.
really.
to keep an eye out. Is there
Yeah.
any way you usually I suppose just on the Twitter?
Yeah,
on Facebook,
you know,
probably more so.
I subscribe to loads of people's events on Facebook. That's the best way to see it, really. I mean, I always say so have a mailing list as well. You need to have a mailing list so you can access people directly, because who knows if Facebook's going to be around in 5 or 10 years.
True.
All
especially
that kind of
with
stuff.
what's going on with them and all. But
and there's a lot of the boom stuff happening at the moment as well. So they're about to do a few gigs before the end of the year. They've got a new single out on 26th of October.
Spotify and iTunes. And
all that stuff. Video to follow, and then an EP next year. And the new song is a jam called Animal.
And they're kind of electronic, aren't they? Duo?
Yeah, electro pop kind of duo, percussionist and synths and drums and stuff. So they're a lot of fun.
Pop down to the gigs, and obviously your own website, Nialler9.
Nialler9.com,
Twitter, Instagram, it's all there.
All that stuff. You have to, all the things you have to be on.
Exactly. But man, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for coming on.
Nice one.
No worries at all.